Stretch those legs out long. You can reach the arms overhead. We're going to stay here on our back. So everything that we do here on our back, we're still looking for that sense of the bony bits at the front of the pelvis on an exhale, drawing towards one another, just slightly. It's like millimeters. And this sense of saran wrap tensioning, like when you put it over a bowl, not pushing the ab contents or the internal organs up and into the ab wall, okay? So we're going to take our block and just look at the space between your thighs, and you're going to fill that space with the block. So some of us it'll be the skinny way, some of us it'll be slightly wider, and we're halfway between the pelvis and the knees. Heel toe out the foot one time, like heel out, toe out. So we've got a little bit of like the weight of the thigh bone resting on that block. And then you're going to bring your hands to the front of the pelvis. Okay, so these muscles at the front of the pelvis, what I want you to do is we're going to kiss the block or laterally pitch the thighs into the block. And when we do that, we shouldn't feel muscles under our hands popping up. Okay, and then we're going to relax, exhale, press into the block, relax, inhale, exhale. Hopefully you're feeling the tissue under your fingers just lightly tension. The abs don't contract like our quadriceps or our glutes. There's not a squeezing that happens. There's not a bulging of muscles. They're very thin sheaths. And you'll just press or laterally pitch into that block to the degree that you don't pop those muscles out underneath your hands. Just show me with a thumbs up. Everybody finding that pitch of the thighs without the muscles bulging up underneath their hands? Okay, perfect. If you're not, there's another cue I can kind of give you. I just need to know if you need it. Okay, so just on the recording, in case you're somebody that those are popping up, think back to the previous classes when we pulled or tensioned the pelvic floor from back to front. When you exhale, do that, and you should be able to have those hip flexors quiet down and us connect into that deep core. Okay, good. Let that go after this one. Take the block out. Again, stretch the legs out. Reach the arms overhead if you want. You put the feet on the ground and take the knees and the hips side to side. Okay, so again, come back to the block squeeze or anywhere along the line that you're able to get that tensioning of the ab wall without pushing the intra-abdominal contents forward with any of these exercises. As you fatigue and the ab wall fatigues, you might find that you need to regress it. So the block is going to come between the thighs again. This time we're going to lift the feet up off the floor. Okay? You might find that you need the block narrower than you had it before if you were wider than the lowest setting. So it's between the thighs and the knees. And then we're going to alternate taking the left foot out to the side and then back in line with the knee, and then the right foot out to the side and then back in line with the knee. So one foot and shin pitches laterally, and then the other one does. The exhale is where we pitch. Or I guess technically this is a yaw. You'll probably feel one hip bone come in closer than the other one, and possibly again yaw. Okay, if that's feeling okay, inner abdominal pressure is good, hands are going to come behind the head, and we're going to lift the head and the collarbones off the floor. And as that foot goes out to the side, we're going to take that same elbow and reach it towards the outer ankle bone. Only go to the point that you don't get any pinchiness in your hip. We should feel these internal obliques and the low abs on that side kick on a little bit more. Inhale, center. You can always pause, completely reset, and then go. So find the timing, the tempo, the pacing that works for you. Take a break when you need to. Stretch the legs out long. Reach the arms overhead. I've done a few sets of these already. Okay, so now everything's going to stay the same except for what our upper body does is going to change. So on this next set, instead of going side to side, the opposite front of the shoulder, like where the collarbone and the arm meet, is going to come across towards that knee of the side that the leg pitches out or yaws out. Okay, so we're going across the body this time instead of a lateral flex here. So it's this shoulder comes towards this knee. That foot is out. Comes towards that knee. So it becomes across the body. Okay? Don't think about the elbow and coming to the knee. Think of the front of the shoulder reaching to the knee. So we don't want the elbow kind of closing off the head. Yeah. Feel how that's different? And then that's great. You can leave the other elbow on the floor as you come up and over to that side. Okay, again, or stay with one of the previous actions we were doing, and then take a break when you're ready to take a break. You might have guessed today's theme is core. This is the last thing we're going to do on our back. Okay, so when that feels complete, let's take a break. For those of you that watched the replay, so you can see it in its entirety, is as that leg pitches out, I exhale, come across. Come back down, exhale, come across. And I'm thinking of the front of that shoulder coming across, not the elbow. Okay. We're going to come into tall kneeling. So coming up onto those knees. Bring your yoga blocks with you. And we did this in class yesterday. We're just going to get a little bit more refined with it. So we've got the two blocks. The exhale and the action is as we come down. I want to think like if this was a button, like a plunger, I could depress it. I could press into it. Now, some of us, because what we want to have are these ribs to be able to fold and come together, and these ribs to be like the gills of a fish and be able to expand and spread. Okay, so some of us might find that the press actually needs to be a bit of a pull, like you lift the block off the ground, let the elbow bend, and you pull yourself over, right? The other arm reaching, and then you come down again. It becomes a press and then a pull. That other arm reaches over. Play with this hand and where it is. It might need to be kind of more in front of the face. The end of the block might need to tip away that way, or it might need to tip this way, so that you get the arm rotating and the ribs spreading in a way that works for you. So don't be afraid to kind of experiment with what you're doing with both the block on the ground and the block in the air. Some of us, it's helpful, that block in the air, if we think like screwing in a light bulb. Okay? But what it isn't is the hips shifting side to side. So the hips stay there. I get length on one side and a folding in on the other side. Okay? Try with the block even coming in front of that front leg. Especially if you notice you're somebody that the hips want to do this in order to facilitate a lengthening and a coiling on the other side. Good. Some of us, that folding of the ribs, like I said, can be helped with a reach across the body. See how my arm now actually helps me get those ribs even closer together and more length on that other side. Good. Okay. So that action of coil and length, we're going to use as we progress in here. So block is going to come behind the head. And this action is one elbow scissors down, one elbow scissors up. So you feel how that scissoring action is a micro version of that fold the ribs in, expand. Yeah? And the elbows can't be out to the side. And this is a time where we do want to frame the head with the elbows. And it's the scissoring action of the arms. And then the elbow that scissors down, that leg steps forward. Elbow scissors down, that leg steps forward. Scissor, 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 scissor. Yes. Next time that leg comes forward, scissor, block comes in front, reach down. Don't plant the heel. Shift the weight into that front leg. Pitch the hip up. Chin to the chest, slouch. Let the knee drop. Step you onto your other leg as you come up. So shift your weight onto that front leg. Pitch the hip, pitch the knee. Take a step onto that other leg. Yeah. Now let the knee fall to the ground, Anne, and the other leg will step forward and catch you. Let that front knee. Now that was the back knee. Okay, so then we're coming down on that other side. Okay, scissor the elbow, we step. Weight shifts into that front leg. Relax the chin. Ragdoll the upper body. This leg is working, working, working. Let the knee fall to the ground. The other leg will step through. Yes, Karen, beautiful. As it steps through, let the upper body lift. So just get a feel of this one. Elbow scissors down, weight shifts. Yes, Margaret. Awesome. That's it, Karen. Oh, did you run your head into something, Margaret, or you just lost your hat? That happens sometimes. Okay. Yeah, you might even want to start off your mat, Anne, to give yourself enough, I don't know what's in front of you, but to give yourself enough space. Think of what can you pitch, what can you yaw, what can you roll to make space to have this feel as smooth, like a rock rolling down a hill, as possible. Okay? And it might need to be I'm here. Oh, my brain might not want to do this. Scissor step. Scissor step. I might not need to be on the ground. Work up at a higher height. Okay, any questions about that? You guys looked great. So some dynamic core. Okay, so we're going to come down onto hands and knees now. When we're weight bearing on hands, if you notice like there's just way more work in your upper body and or the tops of the shoulders and the neck, set up with the hands on the bricks. Or do this with your hands on a chair, because that will get you putting more weight back into the lower body. So find the ratio that you need so it feels like, my legs have me and my upper body isn't like overworking, okay? So blocks can totally be our friend here. So what we're going to do is in hands and knees, we're going to press into the blocks. Exhale, think of those hip points coming together as the feet push down into the ground, the knees get light. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lower. Exhale. Another way we could work with this is at the beginning when we had the block between our thighs and we were squeezing it and the hip points came together. Same action, we've just flipped it now, so we're on our hands and knees. So think of pressing into the block, those adductors link into that upper core, hip bones pulled together, we come up. Adding that for the lower body, again, might help take some of the stress out of the upper body. If you're someone that typically just feels weight bearing on hands and knees, up into the neck and shoulder. Okay, so now that's the action to get the knees off the ground. So we're going to exhale, get the knees off the ground, and then I want you to pick up a baby bird with one hand. And you're going to spin the heels to the left. Then you're going to spin the heels center, lower the knees. Inhale here. Exhale. Set. Knees come up. Spin the heels to the right. Pick up the baby bird with the hand. Spin into that side plank. Come back to center. Reset. If that's feeling okay, when we come through center the next time, so we've spun, we come through center, pitch the hips up. Come into a bent knee down dog. Think about being long from the hands through the bottom of the pelvis. Inhale, knees drop. One hand reaches into the block, the other elbow reaches to the ceiling. Then we spin back, knees bent, downward dog or bear. Inhale, one hand reaches in the block, elbow pulls to the ceiling. So our arms are reaching in opposition of one another. Inhale, knees to the floor, bear. So you're going to oscillate between those. Take a break, come into child's pose whenever you need one. Okay. How are we doing? Good, yeah, that's it, Karen. Good, good, good. Okay. Take a break. Shift your hips back onto your heels. Maybe you rest your forehead on the block or on your hands. Just take some nice slow breaths here.